I'm Sonia Jante.
I'm Jonathan Ward.
And I'm Kimberly Lane, and together we're Unlocking Leadership. We're three experienced executive coaches with very different disciplines. In every episode, we take a question from a real client and provide key insights to address their challenges from our three different perspectives. It's a holistic approach to understanding challenges and opportunities. Let's dive right into it. So our question today is from Scott in Newport Beach, California. Scott says, "This has been an unpredictable year for our team. We have navigated change so often. Everyone's exhausted. What should our focus be as we're wrapping up this year and looking forward to 2023?" Sonia, you want to give us advice to Scott?
Take a breath.
Yes, take a breath, right? Keep your knees up. Yes.
So when one has a very tumultuous and challenging year, I think that more than ever, you need to be able to get everybody together that you can in some kind of a collective environment so that you guys can actually focus on what you learned. Because instead of focusing on like how hard it was and everything we had to overcome, you might want to like have them pivot a little bit and say, so what did we learn about ourselves? What did we learn about business? What did we learn about the industry? So that then the focus becomes on, oh, yes, we lived this year of a lot of changes, but now we've got all of this new energy or all this new agility because of that. So bring them together, have an opportunity to figure out what they learned. And then based on that, what do we want to build in the new year? And I think that with all of the uncertainty that we've had in the last couple of years, people recognize that it isn't just one possible option. There are many possible options, many different scenarios that are out there. And so I do think that maybe potentially inserting a little bit of scenario planning to give people an opportunity to recognize that you have at least some sense and potentially a game plan for different options that are in front of you. And then lastly, celebrate. You made it through the year. You made it through everything that you weathered it. And so you deserve to actually have time to celebrate and connect with each other. Because when we actually have difficulties together with other teams, we become stronger. And so the likelihood that no matter what challenges come at you next year, you guys are going to be very well prepared. It's because you've had all of this new, if you will, it's like going to the gym. You built all this muscle for dealing with all this uncertainty.
Yeah. I was interested. I thought this was a very interesting question, and I knew what my gut reaction was going to be, and then I thought I would take a look online and see what some other people were thinking too. And there was a really interesting article in the Harvard Business Review about this, and it was saying that in a lot of cases we respond to a new challenge with a rush of adrenaline, and what happens is when we get to the end of the year, that adrenaline has kind of run out, and what you need to get you into the next year now is they were talking about resilience and stamina. So a lot of this goes to what Sonia was talking about, thinking about what you learned from this coming year, having that open communication about what was frustrating, et cetera, but then what you've learned and the muscle that you've built. And to go with that muscle analogy, the Harvard Business Review was saying that the temptation might be to rest, but this is a time when you can really tap into what you've learned and come into the new year fighting. They were saying that you take that aggressive response to this kind of thing, that adrenaline you've got now, and use that to drive your plans. How are you going to get out in front of the things that kind of knocked you for a loop last year? I was thinking about the famous quote from Mike Tyson that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, and I think it's
That's
like,
true.
yeah, we've all been punched in the mouth here a couple of times over the past few years, but now, what do we do to get out in front of that? And how do we take this strength and the power that we've built together from having weathered this storm, and let's take the bull by the horns?
Yeah, I like all that you all have said. I wouldn't look just at learning, but where's your growth? I'd have everybody go around the room and say, what was your most challenging time this year? And where was your growth in that? Did you learn to say no? Did you learn to just be able to focus and let go of other priorities? Did you learn better balance? Did you learn better self-care? Did you get more comfortable with business development. I don't know what it was, but sometimes our worst challenges are where we get our greatest amount of growth and also triumph and greatest win. And I would then, what helped you get through that and take that forward into the new year? So, and knowing that you're resilient, know that you're going to grow and be bigger next year, but just take that, take what you learned and who supported you in that process into next year, but really looking where your growth opportunities were, because it was a hard year, but there was a lot of growth, and there should be a lot of joy as a result of that.
There was an advice that I received from a leader one time that I practice as often as possible when things are coming at me in a way that I wonder whether I can keep up or whether I can address it. And it's observe, don't absorb. And so it's like, so if I can move myself into observer mode and recognize all of this is coming at me, then I don't have to get into a very reactionary place. And then I can say, okay, well, what moves to the top of the line and all of that. I think the other part that's important is to recognize that when we have a lot of things like this coming, we understand our themes and where we tend to take ourselves. And so one of the things that I ask people to look at is, do you normally take yourself into worst case scenario, glass half empty, thinking it's not going to work out? Because what you're thinking about today is your future. Or can you pivot and go into best case scenario? What would be the options? What could actually work out? And because we forget how powerful we are in designing our future based on what we choose to focus upon today. So that would be the other thing I would strongly advise, is choose your focus carefully and absorb and observe versus absorb.
What are you going to take from 2022? What was your superpower that you developed in triumph that you're going to take into 2023, charging with all that adrenaline that Jonathan stated?
I think we're all reflecting on the years of challenges we face now,
and I can't believe it's already the end of the year. My gosh!
Yeah. But it's been a fascinating journey, and I think we've all learned so much about ourselves and who we are as individuals, as well as collectively as a society. What the challenges that we still have, what strengths we had that got us through this, and then collectively the challenges that we have to going forward. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, thanks so much. I'm sitting here in reflection mode, but thank you, Scott from Newport Beach, for your question today. We hope you and our viewers and our listeners have a better understanding of how to wrap up this year of overwhelming change. So to our listeners, if you like the content that we shared today, please like and subscribe and share on our YouTube channel, Unlocking Leadership -askthecoaches.com. We look forward to reading your reviews. You can also find Unlocking Leadership Ask the Coaches on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. If you have a leadership question or you'd like to reach out to our coaches, please email us at info@unlockingleadership-askthecoaches.com. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for joining us today. Tune in next time to find the keys to unlocking your best leadership.